funny what we just
The other guy.
lock him out.
Thank you for joining us for DI strategies for the classroom. Yeah, he's still there.
I was trying. Making sure my kids don't blow in the classroom.
Okay, so we have most of the DI team here with us. Some of them were here this morning and not this afternoon. So Heather and I for ISS and Language Arts. Andrea, if you're social studies, she's your go-to. Mandy in the back for math. And Michelle for science. If you're an elective teacher, Casey Bowles is your go-to person. And basically what we're going to do today is go through one kind of bigger all-encompassing activity that I say all-encompassing because it hits all of the different pillars of DI. And then we're going to give you a bank of strategies with tons of ideas that are quick, low prep, easy things to implement in class. And you will pick 1 or 2 or 3 of those within the next week, use them in class. They're like 5-10 minutes, quick, easy things. And then we'll have a reflection next Wednesday back in here to talk about how it went. So, to start with, before we do the big activity, we have 3 truths and a lie. And we did this with Wendy Hansen on January 6th, so you may remember that. But here's some DI truths and a lie. What do you think? Which one's the lie? 2. Are you sure? Yes. Anybody have anything to say about that?
That's a lie.
It's not trying to start a debate or an all-out fight, but at the same time, it is pretty controversial.
Yeah. A lot of people disagree, so, and that's understandable to an extent. Nobody wants to disagree.
It just depends on the DI activity.
It does. Some of them do require some planning and some prep. The good thing is the more you do it, the less time you have to put in on the front end. And a lot of the things on the bank of strategies that you're going to get today, they really don't require, they're not those activities that do require a lot on the front end. You might even be in the middle of class and just realize, oh, this isn't working the way I planned it. Let's try doing this and change it up. And there's no prep. It won't always work that way, but sometimes. Okay. This probably looks familiar. It should look familiar to some of you. It's part of the explanation for a CAP activity. And that's the big activity that we're going to do today. So, we're doing this today because it hits respectful tasks, ongoing assessment, flexible grouping. It's all those DI things that we're supposed to be doing. So what you're looking at is each circle is a group, and y'all are going to get into those groups. So we have the creative group, the analytical group, and the practical group. And I know it's kind of hard. Can y'all see these? Those tiny words are verbs that describe what each group would do, like the kind of presentation they would put together or a product they would create. So the creatives, it says role play, demonstrate, visual, creations, build, construct. So if I gave you, for instance, an article and you're in the creative group, you would read through the article and maybe role play part of it for the rest of the group. So that's what we're going to do. When you break into groups, I'm going to give each group an article. You're going to read it together, plan a presentation. Then we'll all come back and jigsaw it, and you'll present it to the whole group. Make sense? Okay, analyticals. It's the why. They justify, rank, categorize, explain, outline. And then the practicals, the yeah, buts. Yeah, that's great, but anticipate, problem solve, real life practice, troubleshoot. So, you think you know where you fall? At least today. It's not always the same.
Say we could, if we wanted to, we could have given you like a learning style inventory where you were taking this inventory and then based on that, you can find them all over Google. But for the sake of time, you guys are adults. You might want to use one of those in your classroom just because they can pretty much sniff out grouping, especially if you do it more than once. So they might want to be with all the creatives, with all their buddies, or they might want to be, so.
And there's the flexible part of the grouping that some days they might feel creative and some days they don't and they want to go to analytical or whatever. Or they don't always have to pick the same one. Okay, here's a little further explanation that might help you pick. These are possible ways of coming up with a product or presentation. For the creatives, they might work together to develop role-play demonstrations for at least 3 of the ideas from the article. Analytical, they might rank 5 ideas from the article in order of appropriateness and productivity for the campus and justify the reasons for rank, develop plans for implementation. That's kind of a lot, we don't have that much time. Or the practicals might determine implementation plans for 3 to 5 of the ideas from the article and anticipate challenges and troubleshoot those issues. Okay, so let's break into groups. The articles, because we're gonna have about 15 minutes to read and plan before we come back together and present. So you might just want to skim them. Of course, in class, you would probably take longer, give them more time with whatever the content is you're giving them, and have them create a product. Like the analyticals might have a slide presentation, or the role play for the creatives. There's not really any other way to do that. But some kind of product that you can assess. Okay, so let's have the creatives over here, analyticals here, and practicals over here.
That is a perfect example of why we needed a survey right here.
I already chose it.
And all of these were practical.
Yeah, we're practical. Yeah,
They are all
I already thought
This was like creative in the morning.
I thought you did know, even with
Analytical.
it surprised me when you're just like,
not the analytical.
I also don't feel creative.
I don't feel analytical most days, but
I probably want to be analytical, but
What's the first thing to do?
fun to be creative.
Yeah.
Analyzing.
Ability to.
Specific,
Yeah.
every day you could be either one, some days you feel
Y'all's
like you
article
want to
even
rank
just
yourself
looks
fine,
strong.
and
it
then
also depends on the survey. Some surveys will ask you questions like about products, some will ask you about.
Each group gets a different article. Now, you don't have to do it that way. If you were in class and doing like a review or something,
Right there.
you would give them all the same.
That is another one, that's a pregnant one. I don't have to even see to rely on that.
I'll just laugh at that.
oh wait, no, the lady.
Actually,
That's what our activity should be, put in subtitles.
Yeah,
And my new thing for deer is I drop everything and read. Make a sign. Oh, that's how it's made.
I thought there was more than one.
I thought all was
Is that the ticket?
It's not that big of a reason.
Because there were no creatives this morning. Isn't that weird? Really? And so we had to create a creative.
And the analytical group was huge.
I wonder if that has to do with AM and PM, so I can just make sure. See, I would be more of an A than an I. I guess. There's any kind of products that should be.
Salute.
Don't start, Tracy.
That was very
Start
creative.
no more thing, man.
Of course, they're creative people.
Well, just give us 1 second.
What I do?
All right. We all need that.
Hey.
We'll put you in creative too.
I was down that page,
My class.
Even better.
Okay, right. If you've noticed, the creative group is the
What?
ADHD. What we're doing, the creative group is doing this copying off that. It's about creative. Cause I just want to. Yeah, it's Tracy, I'm like. What?
This is the story I'm going with.
I have something like that. People like.
Like for example, this one right here is talking about, because I feel like there's one of my life like this.
I was gonna do a little break, but then.
So it's this thing right here that says, people start to think that mistakes are failures.
Gonna get it. Yeah, it's use all the others. They.
I didn't really get you, right?
The access video, so you can have somebody interview Selena. You can have, because we just talked about the left lady and.
Well, no, that's.
When it kicks in, it
Good idea.
What I hate is that this, I just ask for these kids to have connections. I want to be like, no, they can't.
Or you're exactly thinking of something. You're exactly thinking of a perfect example and they just can't come up with it. And you're like, I don't understand how you just
I
can't
went
think
for a
of.
question today that said something like.
No, I agree.
Talk about a person that people didn't know, but you know, it's not gonna be the story.
It was like we were talking about somebody who's brave, like someone from history. I mean, we got Jesus, but there was someone who was Jewish in the group. I was like, we're not doing Jesus.
I asked you today, I said, what are some other examples of civil disobedience in history?
Reparts. That's who I was trying to get them to today.
Let's go with that, write that down.
They said, no, they said reparts. I'd like to have it in my head, a civil war. I know, I know.
I don't know, because, you know, I don't know.
Is it one away?
I'm doing it in my implementation, but we're practicing to do something. So like, there's all this in there. And like,
Implementation plans. Challenges or goals you have.
Well, you could do plans.
There's potential.
You may not have it.
Today, maybe you'll have a good sleep.
The last one, the fifth one is good. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'll do the plans.
But it says determine.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna be.
3 to 5.
The 5 ideas. Yeah. So, the last one, this is drop top box and outside box.
Number
Yeah, Laura's good. He got 80 on mine, and it was like a test everybody else failed. Yeah. Right. And I noticed he won't turn things in. If I ask him what something is, he can tell me what it is all day long. Yeah, he just can't write it down. Yeah, but he can tell me all day long. Yeah, that's awesome. So we're doing 1 4. That's 4. Basically, 5 is and then 1 is the impact of the impact of the student-teacher relationship.
Yeah, Jamie can be bouncing back and forth.
Well, it's a little bit of rank
Like I'm crazy.
It's so funny to watch. Watching the practical. It's so funny, I'm watching practical, you're like, you guys are analyzing. It's crazy. It's perfect. That is so fun. I'm having fun watching. Or I think like
Different organizations are doing like, I mean, like different organizations,
Well, and those are just possibilities, it's not, what's kind of give you guys different.
oh, right, then
so like a personal motto of us.
So then it was like, you would be standing over us, and you would be so overpowering, and you would just scare us to death. I'm like, what?
About 4 minutes.
They relate to like a couple weeks later, like literally my team every customer say no. You know, and like I'll throw that in a lesson where Graham and I'll throw in, I'm not gonna update something, spouse will be there. So no, they feel it makes it know that you're like real.
You'll have 3 minutes. I know that's quick.
Yeah. It helps you believe it's
and how can an image start doing
Oh, my room. Okay, so everyone, I guess because it's different. My physics period. Air freshener.
You do that seriously, it smells
Little boys in the corner that's throwing your bread. She's not acting.
But like,
Okay, start wrapping it up.
get supplies that are needed, like every day, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Get the final touches on.
okay. No.
like they can, and then.
Yeah, go get it really quick, you know? Yeah, I guess so.
I think the impossible is when you have
I mean, even if she's like,
But online is perfect, that's what the fixed mindset.
no, would you say? I'll just go help you. I'll just apply.
Okay.
So what did we say,
Floor number 4. So that would be part of it.
Okay, so which group would like to go first?
Like 30 more seconds.
We would love to go first.
Time is up.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe
the first section of that how to That's the first section.
Hey, creatives are beginning. People.
Come on, Miss Kitty.
Oh, do I need to go up
Now,
there?
of course, it was rushed. We're doing this just to get an idea of how the activity runs. Our presentations don't have to be perfect. No, I'm
Okay, you get it, okay? So Miss Kitty, yeah.
Okay,
Man,
audience.
we have score here.
Be good audience members, please.
Okay, ours is profound wisdom here, okay? Miss Kitty is our person struggling between growth mindset and fixed mindset. And Jamie is our growth mindset person. And as you notice, it says you're supposed to be talking back. So, and then Omar is our fixed mindset / he's wiped out, he didn't eat lunch, okay? So, and Miss Kitty is the person talking to herself, as it talked about in the end, on how to start becoming a growth mindset person, okay? Well, you gotta say something.
Is that what you wanted?
Sure, it's up to y'all.
Maybe I will. Can I get a link to this video? That was a cocoon.
That was the best I've ever seen.
Oh.
All right,
Maybe I will. At a five.
you wanna go?
Yeah.
I have to go to my.
I don't know if they're ready.
Just for their video.
I think we stand up here.
I'm only
All right, analyticals.
Okay.
Now, one thing y'all may not have realized is each group got a different article. Just a side note.
So the title of our article is called Even Geniuses Work Hard, and they had 5 different sections. And what we did was we analyzed each and every section because we're analyticals. Okay. We analyzed each and every section and we determined what would be good for our campus here at West in terms of fostering that growth mindset for the students. The most important thing that we did, ranked, was creating a culture of risk-taking. We want the kids to be able to get out of that comfort zone so that they can actually grow in their learning, so that they can go to that next level. After that comes building the actual growth mindset, because once they take the risk, they're like, okay, I have it in my mindset that I can grow. I may not be as good as math in a certain topic in math, or maybe I'm not good at science, but if I put enough work into it, I can grow, I can become a better student, and things will just get better for me. From that, the third thing that came from it is we gave a sense of progress to the students on that growth mindset. Okay, tell them on the shoulders, like, you may not be doing very well right now, not yet. You're getting there though, and then just keep reminding them, give them that, what's the word I'm looking for? Reassurance that they're growing, okay? The fourth thing that we put on that list was that we had long-term success for those skills that we basically did for the culture of risk-taking. So, and then the grade for growth was the one that we put at the bottom because that's kind of subjective and it's really difficult to grade for growth. I mean, it's possible, but it is difficult because, especially for me as a math teacher, like, I see numbers and, I'm able to take a look at everything and see how they did. So, sorry, I kind of monopolized.
Practicals.
Okay, we were practical, and our article is about the mindset of an effective educator and 5 ideas that you could use to have the mindset that you are being effective, but they're hard to believe. And our first one is to believe that what we say and do in the classroom each day can have a lifelong influence on students. And so ways to implement that, we talked about were having organizations do thank you stuff like the TOPS did. That's a reminder to us, like they do appreciate us, they do care of little things like that. And sharing personal stories in the classroom. Because if you can connect with them, like even during lesson, just throw something in. Like I would throw in, like on a grammar thing, why would I not go on a date with this guy? Because he spelled you're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. And so now anytime something like that comes up, I'm like, would you date that guy? Would you date that guy? So I've obviously influenced them in some way. So just things you can do to remind you. And then we had to come up with problems and troubleshoot them. Problems would be when you're burned out and it's just one of those days and that you have to troubleshoot that. You just have to accept that you can't save them all and be thankful for the ones that you have influenced and that you will influence. So that was one of them. We have one more.
No, we're good.
Thank you.
All right, so that's a CAP activity. You can give the different groups the same content to work on, different content. It's kind of up to you. It could be a review, it could be an introduction to a new thing, however you want to do it. If you let the kids pick, then you hit all the DI stuff.
You have them read it first and then decide where to go.
My kids will be like, "What is one before?" And one will be like,
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
everything is on.
I don't see why not. Okay, last thing before we let y'all go. I've shared 3 things with you on Google. This is the first thing. It's the strategy bank. These are the quick, low prep things I was talking about, and you can see they're divided up by what you want to achieve. If you want to increase engagement, retention, if you want to assess, if you want to group. Lots of ideas there. Some are a little more, they take up a little more time in class than others, but most of them are pretty quick. And since that probably doesn't mean very much without an explanation, there's also, the second thing is the DI strategy details document. This is in alphabetical order. So when you're looking at the bank and you say, oh, choral response, okay, I want to see what that is. Then go over to the details and just look in alphabetical order. This isn't in alphabet, it's in no particular order. So
It's in mine at the bottom because I'm slow.
so what you're gonna do is take a look at the bank, take a look at the details, and you're gonna pick 1 or 2 or 3, because some of them are really short, strategies, and work them into your class in the next week. And then next Wednesday, when we come back here for the reflection, we'll go over how it went. The practicals can help us pick out the problems. Or maybe they won't feel practical that day, I don't know. And anyway, we'll just reflect on those. So the last thing, the third thing I shared with you is this form. And there's just one thing, it just, you enter in whatever strategies you picked from the bank. Strategy or strategies. So if you could look at that sometime today, this evening, at some point, and just submit the form.
From the bank, does it describe what they are?
It does in the details. They're completely, they're 2 completely separate, documents. One's spreadsheet, one's document, but that's where you'll see the explanations. And there's links in there and all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so don't forget to take a look at those, submit the form today, and we'll see you.
I've got stuff to build and all these things.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're sitting in there and you can look it up real quick and just pick one and put it in, great. If not, tomorrow morning, yeah.
Okay.
let's say hypothetically, like, you've got Avid, and then I'm out Friday, and then Monday, we've got scoliosis training through all the science classes. There's not just a whole lot of time to implement, really, like, one day between
Well,
now
I mean,
and then.
like, you may pick an entrance ticket or an exit ticket. Like,
Okay.
it really does, it can be something that's super quick.
Okay.
And like math, I know y'all are, so it's harder for y'all to work things in, especially on short notice. But yeah, some of these are super quick.
And it could be just like grouping, like using
Yeah.
things from the group.
A way, something you're already doing, but just adding in that one little extra piece. Okay, so do the form, check out this bank, and we'll see you back next Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
You want to do the one by the, by tonight?
If you can do it tonight,